What's up, everybody? I'm John Turner. Welcome back to What's the Table. We are so glad that you're with us again today for the third in our 5-part video series about tools and tactics and techniques that have made us better hunters very quickly in the early going, and you cannot afford to miss this one. This probably could have been, should have been the first video in the series, and if you watch nothing else, watch this video, particularly if you're hunting animals whose sense of smell is their primary self-defense mechanism. You cannot afford to skimp on your scent control. We'll show you exactly how we manage our scent control, our regimen, products, and our thought process and philosophy that made us absolutely better hunters. You cannot afford to miss this. Let's get going. All right, so let me walk you guys through some of our favorite products when it comes to scent control. And as you look at this laid out on the table, this is probably actually fairly simplistic to a lot of people. A lot of you probably use more products than this, but in our circles, I'm probably thought of as somebody who's very fanatical about scent control. To the extent that your budget allows, I don't think that you can go overboard when it comes to paying attention to and controlling your scent. And we're not affiliated with these companies, but we believe strongly in these products and technologies in terms of something that's gonna help you control your scent and make you a better hunter. We use a lot of Scentlok products when we're on these types of hunts, whether it's bibs and heavyweight jackets and later seasons, always using headgear to cover over your head, your hair, facial hair for guys. This is where you're putting out the large majority of your scent. You have to keep that covered. Toboggans, lightweight glove liners and heavier weight glove liners when you're in cooler weather to keep the scent and the oils that are on your hands from getting on your tree stands and getting on trees and tree limbs and everything as you're moving through the brush. Extremely, extremely important. Scentlok, though not necessarily perhaps the only company out there that uses activated carbon, and I'm not a chemist, so I can't speak to this in the most eloquent fashion, but I can tell you that activated carbon, think of it as a porous substance, almost like charcoal. It's going to absorb and attract odor and those types of molecules that you would otherwise be putting out in the air. You will not fool a deer's nose. You will not fool a bear's nose. You will not fool a pig's nose. It's not that they're not going to know that you're there, right? But absolutely, by using these types of products, you may make it seem as though you haven't been there in 2 or 3 hours or 2 or 3 days. And their sense of smell is wired, their brains are wired in order to determine the level of danger associated with the strength of the smell that they're picking up, right? So if you're smelling like you've been there several hours earlier or several days earlier, it may not set off the part of their brain that's gonna make them blow and run out of the area. It may give you just enough time to get off that shot. So 1 or 2% better, that's what we're looking for with everything that we do. These types of products will give you that. All right, so in addition to the clothing, let me give you 4 more products, or at least categories of products that we use religiously every time we go into the field. Number 1, especially if it's not Scentlok, everything that we have and everything that we wear is gonna be washed with this unscented or scent eliminating detergent. There's a lot of different brands of this out there. Dead Downwind happens to be one that we like a lot and that we use all the time. Before I get up before I go into the field in the morning, I'm getting up, Ryan's getting up, Afton's getting up, and we're taking an unscented shower with a scent eliminating body wash. This is one that we use. We get this at Walmart, and you're using field washcloths for eliminating any additional scent on your hands after you get out of the shower and handling your equipment before you get into the woods. And lastly, before we go in, using that scent eliminating spray on our rubber boots, on any of our gear, backpacks, anything else, in order to make sure that we've accounted for every possible variable before we go into the woods. 4 products that we really like and put together with our clothing makes a really effective scent control regimen. Now, in order to keep everything really neat and organized, we do use Scentlok bins. These are airtight bins. You can see the rubber seal that they have around the top. They keep everything really nice and organized for us. They have these carbon pads inside that have the same activated carbon technology that our clothing does from Scentlok, and that absorbs any additional odors that are inside this bin. But the benefit here is also from an organization and a planning standpoint. You see this one has my name on top of it. We have additional bins at the house that have Afton's name, Ryan's name, and so when I get up at 4 o'clock in the morning and my head's in a fog, I get up and I grab this box or this bin and I throw it in my car, and I've got everything in it that I possibly need before I go into the field. And if Afton's going with me, we grab her bin, Ryan's just the same. So this is a good way to keep everything scent controlled and keep everything organized before you get into the field. Now, if you can't afford these bins, go get yourself some unscented garbage bags. Write your name on it if you want to. You can get those from Walmart for just a couple of bucks, and it does effectively just the same thing, if not for the carbon activated pads that are in here. You can keep everything scent controlled as soon as it comes out of the dryer. You practice the rest of your scent control regimen. Wash everything scent free, dry everything scent free, put it into your scent free bag, seal it up, throw it into your car, you're good to go. Now you've got everything organized and your scent is controlled, ready for that hunt. All right, so just in our last couple of minutes, I want to tell you guys, in addition to the products that we really believe in, a little bit about our sort of the regimen and the practices that we go through before we go into the field, and then a little bit about maybe the most important topic about scent control, and I'll get to that in just a minute. Number one, let's talk a little bit about our regimen. You might have noticed that when this video started, I wasn't wearing my Scentlok gear, I was wearing street clothes, and that's for a very deliberate reason. Anytime that we're going into the field and we're going to scout or we're going to hunt something that, again, is very sensitive to smell, I am absolutely going to practice every bit of scent control that I can, and that includes not getting dressed until I get out of the car, until I get to the hunting camp, or until I get to the field. That's not always convenient. It's not always convenient or fun to get dressed outside the car in 22-degree weather in late deer season. Is it worth it? 100%. Right? Because I know whether I've eaten McDonald's or Bojangles in my car, or whether we've had, you know, kids in and out of the car during the week and going back and forth to the pool and sunscreen and everything, I don't want that residual scent soaking into my clothes after I've spent so much time and so much money buying the best Scentlok or the best scent control technology or clothing that I can possibly get, and washing my clothing in the best scent control detergent that I can possibly afford, and controlling everything in these bins in order to put it on and get in the car and get out smelling like a Big Mac. That's not gonna work well during my hunt. All right, so I'll spend the extra 5 minutes and get dressed outside the car, get dressed quickly as fast as you can. It will be to your benefit, because then you're gonna smell like the outside in that environment that you're going to hunt in that those deer are used to smelling like. That is very, very important. So in terms of regimen, don't get dressed in your hunting clothes before you get to where you're going. Number one. Number two, in terms of regimen, I've already mentioned when I was talking about the products, some of the things that we do in terms of taking a scent-free shower before you go. It's not convenient. You're rushing to get everything in the car. You're rushing to get the kids out the door, and you're trying to get into woods before the sun goes down or whatever. It is extremely important. You set aside 5 or 6 minutes in order to take that scent-free shower, right? Dry off with a towel that has been washed in this scent-free detergent and dried with your scent-free dryer sheets. Right, this is all very, very important, because you don't want to mess up on the smallest detail before you walk out the door that can mean the difference in a successful hunt and an unsuccessful hunt. So make sure that you're taking that scent-free shower. Also, make sure that you're washing, just like I mentioned towels a second ago, make sure that you're washing your accessories, right? You're washing your backpacks. Often people forget about this. Before you go into the woods, you're scent-free, washing your backpacks. You're controlling them in a bin like this or in your scent-free garbage bags before you go in, and you're wiping down your equipment. Accessories, backpacks, equipment get wiped down with a scent-free rag before you go into the woods. All this adds up. It takes time, right? It probably takes me 30 more minutes to get into the woods than it does a lot of other people that I would hunt with, and they're riding off in their ATVs, and which is another topic. If you've seen our Bad Boy Buggy review, right, which is another thing that we like to do to hunt non-invasively, is to hunt with electric vehicles. But take the extra time, invest the extra few minutes in order to get into the woods quietly, without scent, and non-invasively, and you won't be sorry that you did. All right, so for this last topic, and this might actually be the most important topic and the most important part of this video, it is wind direction, and it goes to your preparation. It's as important to your preparation for your hunt and planning your hunt as your regimen, your scent control regimen is actually deciding where to hunt. Because again, for animals that depend primarily for their survival on their sense of smell, right? You absolutely have to be cognizant of the direction that the wind is blowing on that day, the direction of your entry, and the direction of your exit from your stand. You cannot pay too much attention to this, perhaps even more so than all of your clothing and your scent control sort of preparation before you go in. Now, I'm sure there are a lot of people who are going to tell me in the comments that they have shot deer, or they know of deer that have been shot by people smoking cigarettes in stand, people who don't wear Scentlok, people who haven't washed their clothes in weeks and have been at their hunt club for a week. I'm sure that that's true. That's probably true, and probably a lot of really experienced hunters have done that. But for me, this is what we found to work, and we're trying to eliminate every possible variable. You need to make sure that you are not overhunting a stand because you leave scent every time you go in there. Make sure that you're approaching a stand from downwind. Make sure that you're leaving a stand downwind to the extent that you can. paying attention to morning and afternoon thermals. I'm throwing out a lot of things. There are a lot of factors to consider, but if I had to sum it up, I would say this: don't hunt a stand if the wind is wrong. If it means not going to hunt that night, fine, so be it. Hunt one day instead of 7 days if it's a high quality day for the area that you want to hunt, and I promise you, you will come home with more game than if you hunted 7 poor quality days and alerted everything in the area to your presence because you were hunting upwind and just blowing. You won't even know that the game's there, right? It doesn't matter how much scent control you practice. It doesn't matter what you're wearing, right? If the wind is wrong, you're not going to fool their noses. So please, I promise you, and a lot of people are going to say, and a lot of people do say that I'm fanatical, and that they'll make fun of these tactics and they'll go hunt just because they've made up their mind in advance. I'm gonna go hunt stand A or stand 6 or whatever it is. But the reality is they may come home with nothing, and I've had a lot of people, same people who've made fun of a lot of this, saying that I'm going overboard, to turn around and say, what am I doing wrong? This is probably rule number 1 if you pay attention to nothing else. Pay attention to wind when you're hunting certain animals, right, that care about the wind and care about their sense of smell being their primary self-defense mechanism. If you will follow these simple things, and this isn't everything that you could do from a scent control perspective, these aren't the most expensive products, they're certainly not the least. If you'll do these simple things, it will help you to some degree to be able to control your scent and to be able to have more successful hunts. And that's ultimately what we want for you guys, and what we want for everybody who's watching out there, is to have more success and get into the outdoors and just enjoy nature. We hope that this was useful for you. We hope to see you next time. God bless.